Letter 33 of Evelina. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Elizabeth Klett. Evelina by Fanny Burney. Letter 33. Evelina in continuation, May 13th. The Captain's operations are begun, and I hope ended. For indeed poor Madame Duval has already but too much reason to regret Sir Clement's visit to Howard Grove. Yesterday morning, during breakfast, as the Captain was reading the newspaper, Sir Clement suddenly begged to look at it, saying he wanted to know if there was any account of a transaction, at which he had been present the evening before his journey hither, concerning a poor Frenchman, who had got into a scrape which might have cost him his life. The Captain demanded particulars, and then Sir Clement told a long story of being with a party of country friends at the Tower, and hearing a man call out for mercy in French; and that, when he inquired into the occasion of his distress, he was informed that he had been taken upon suspicion of treasonable practices against the government. The poor fellow, continued he, no sooner found out that I spoke French, that he besought me to hear him, protesting that he had no evil designs, that he had been but a short time in England, and only awaited the return of a lady from the country to quit it for ever. Madame Duval changed colour, and listened with the utmost attention. Now, though I by no means approve of so many foreigners continually flocking into our country, added he, addressing himself to the Captain, yet I could not help pitying the poor wretch, because he did not know enough of English to make his defence. However, I found it impossible to assist him, for the mob would not suffer me to interfere. In truth, I am afraid he was but roughly handled. Why, did they duck him? said the Captain. Something of that sort, answered he. So much the better, so much the better, cried the Captain. An impudent French puppy! I'll bet you what you will, he was a rascal. I only wish all his countrymen were served the same. I wish you had been in his place, with all my soul, cried Madame Duval warmly. But pray, sir, didn't nobody know who this poor gentleman was? Why, I did hear his name, answered Sir Clement, but I cannot recollect it. It wasn't Dubois, stammered out Madame Duval. The very name, answered he. Yes, Dubois, I remember it now. Madame Duval's cup fell from her hand as she repeated, Dubois, Monsieur Dubois, did you say? Dubois? Why, that's my friend, cried the Captain. That's Monsieur Slippery, innit? Why, he's plaguy fond of sousing work. Howsomever, I'll be sworn they gave him his fill of it. And I'll be sworn, cried Madame Duval, that you're a... But I don't believe nothing about it, so you needn't be so overjoyed, for I dare say it was no more Monsieur Dubois than I am. I thought at the time, said Sir Clement very gravely, that I had seen the gentleman before, and now I recollect, I think it was in company with you, madam. With me, sir? cried Madame Duval. Say you so? said the Captain. Why, then it must be he, as sure as you're alive. Well, but my good friend, what will they do with poor Monsieur? It is difficult to say, answered Sir Clement very thoughtfully, but I should suppose that if he has not good friends to appear for him, he will be in a very unpleasant situation, for these are serious sorts of affairs. Why, do you think they'll hang him? demanded the Captain. Sir Clement shook his head, but made no answer. Madame Duval could no longer contain her agitation. She started from her chair, repeating, with a voice half choked, hang him, they can't, they shan't, let him at their peril. However, it's all false, and I won't believe a word of it. But I'll go to town this very moment, and see Monsieur Dubois myself. I won't wait for nothing. Mrs. Mirvan begged her not to be alarmed, but she flew out of the room, and up to the stairs into her own apartment. Lady Howard blamed both the gentlemen for having been so abrupt, and followed her. I would have accompanied her, but the Captain stopped me, and having first laughed very heartily, said he was going to read his commission to his ship's company. Now, do you see, said he, as to Lady Howard, I shan't pretend for to enlist her into my service, and so I shall e'en leave her to make it out as well as she can, but as to all you, I expect obedience and submission to orders. I am now upon a hazardous expedition, having undertaken to convey a crazy vessel to the shores of mortification. So do you see, if any of you have anything to propose that will forward the enterprise, why speak and welcome. But if any of you that are of my chosen crew capitulate, or enter into any treaty with the enemy, I shall look upon you as mutinying, and turn you adrift." Having finished this harangue, which was interlarded with many expressions and sea phrases that I cannot recollect, he gave Sir Clement a wink of intelligence, and left us to ourselves. Indeed, notwithstanding the attempts I so frequently make of writing some of the Captain's conversation, I can only give you a faint idea of his language, for almost every other word he utters is accompanied by an oath, which I am sure would be as unpleasant for you to read as for me to write; and besides, he makes use of 1,000 sea terms, which are to me quite unintelligible. Poor Madame Duval sent to inquire at all probable places, whether she could be conveyed to town in any stage coach; but the Captain's servant brought her for answer, that no London stage would pass near Howard Grove till to-day. She then sent to order a chaise, but was soon assured that no horses could be procured. She was so much inflamed by these disappointments, that she threatened to set out for town on foot, and it was with difficulty that Lady Howard dissuaded her from this mad scheme. The whole morning was filled up with these inquiries; but when we were all assembled to dinner, she endeavoured to appear perfectly unconcerned, and repeatedly protested that she gave not any credit to the report, as far as it regarded M. Du Bois, being very certain that he was not the person in question. The Captain used the most provoking efforts to convince her that she deceived herself, while Sir Clement, with more art, though not less malice, affected to be of her opinion, but at the same time that he pretended to relieve her uneasiness, by saying that he doubted not having mistaken the name, he took care to enlarge upon the danger to which the unknown gentleman was exposed, and expressed great concern at his perilous situation. Dinner was hardly removed when a letter was delivered to Madame Duval. The moment she had read it, she hastily demanded from whom it came. "A country boy brought it," answered the servant, "but he would not wait." "Run after him this instant," cried she, "and be sure you bring him back. Mon Dieu, quelle aventure! Que ferai-je?" "What's the matter? What's the matter?" said the Captain. "Why, nothing's the matter. Oh, mon Dieu!" And she rose and walked about the room. "Why, what, has Monsieur sent to you?" continued the Captain. "Is that their letter from him?" "No, it isn't. Besides, if it is, it's nothing to you." "Oh, then I'm sure it is. Pray now, Madam, don't be so close. Come, tell us all about it. What does he say? How did he relish the horse pond? Which did he find best, sousing single or double? 'Fore George, 'twas plaguy unlucky you was not with him." "It's no such a thing, Sir," cried she very angrily; "and if you're so fond of a horse pond, I wish you'd put yourself into one, and not be always thinking about other people's being served so." The men then came in to acquaint her that they could not overtake the boy. She scolded violently, and was in such perturbation, that Lady Howard interfered, and begged to know the cause of her uneasiness, and whether she could assist her. Madame Duval cast her eyes upon the Captain and Sir Clement, and said she should be glad to speak to her ladyship without so many witnesses. "Well, then, Miss Anville," said the Captain, turning to me, "do you and Molly go into another room, and stay there till Mrs. Duval has opened her mind to us." "So you may think, Sir," cried she, "but who's fool then? No, you needn't trouble yourself to make a ninny of me neither, for I'm not so easily taken in, I'll assure you." Lady Howard then invited her into the dressing room, and I was desired to attend her. As soon as we had shut the door, "Oh, my lady," cried Madame Duval, "here's the most cruellest thing in the world as happens. But that Captain is such a beast, I can't say nothing before him; but it's all true. Poor Monsieur Du Bois is tooked up." Lady Howard begged her to be comforted, saying that, as Monsieur Du Bois was certainly innocent, there could be no doubt of his ability to clear himself. "To be sure, my lady," answered she, "I know he is innocent, and to be sure they'll never be so wicked as to hang him for nothing." "Certainly not," replied Lady Howard. "You have no reason to be uneasy. This is not a country where punishment is inflicted without proof." "Very true, my lady; but the worst is this, I cannot bear that fellow the Captain should know about it; for if he does, I shan't never hear the last of it; no more won't poor Monsieur Du Bois."